So thank you all for joining us today for our webinar, free webinar by Prevention Plus Wellness, located here in beautiful St. Augustine, Florida. I hope you're well where you're calling in from. Thanks for joining us today. This is our first webinar of the year. By the way, we'll have one next week, but that's not a webinar. It's actually a meeting. I wanted to have a more intimate meeting to walk people through our program and training options. That's next week, same time, same day, just 1 week from today. So that's if you're interested, you can go to our website, preventionpluswellness.com, and drop in your name and email, and you'll be notified. So today's topic, protective behaviors for preventing youth drug use. That's today's topic. It's being recorded, and everyone who's registered will be receiving a link to the recording, to the slides, and to a 1-hour CU certificate from us. So don't worry about any of that. That'll be sent your way. Okay, so lots of slides today, and lots of people on here. I see people are saying hi in the chat. I do encourage you to go ahead and say hello, and tell people who you're with or where you're from or what state you're at, so we can see all the wonderful places that people are signing in from today. And because there's so much I want to show you, and I do want to have time at the end of today's session for Q&A, I'm going to jump right into it today. Actually, we've got 3 polls for you to participate in today. So you'll have lots of opportunity to participate. But if you do have a question or comment that you want to have responded by me, go to the Q&A, find that under your toolbar, and you can make that comment or that question, and we'll get to that at the end of today's session. Remember, no worries if you got to leave early today, not a problem. You will receive from me today, most likely later this afternoon, an email with a link to this recorded webinar and the slides and the CU certificate. So you can see what the objectives are for today. They are, first of all, you'll be able to explore protective behaviors for youth drug use at different levels: individual, family, school, and community. So we'll look at all 4 levels, and we'll look at the research supporting protective factors at those levels and the potential impact of those protective factors at those 4 levels for preventing youth substance use, first of all, promoting overall mental health as well. Secondly, you'll be able to identify specific strategies for promoting protective behaviors for preventing youth substance use. And then thirdly, and I think this is an important one, that I'm going to be asking you all to identify specific protective behaviors that you'd like to target for preventing substance use in your location, your communities, your schools, etc. Okay, that's what we'll be doing today. Let's start off, first of all, with our first poll. First of 3 polls today. It's the introductory poll. Let me launch it. It's coming your way. Take a look at it. 3 questions. When you see it, if you're not just on audio, if you do have an opportunity to respond, please do. That way we can get a good sense of who's on today's webinar and what your interests are, your needs are. You may need to scroll down to see all 3 questions. So, but if you don't mind, if you can answer all 3, that'd be fantastic. And the more people that answer, the better. So 3 questions, very quick, easy answers. Yes, no, don't know, or don't care, or not applicable. And you can see those 3 questions. I'll just give you another couple minutes to answer. You're up to 62% of you, 64% have responded. That's fantastic. Would love to see us reach the 70%, and we've already met that and above, already up to 75%. You guys are great today. You're participating. It's fantastic. I really appreciate that. Just the last minute to let everybody get through all 3 questions that have started the the poll, and then I'll share the results with you. We'll take a look at them together. And 3 questions were up to 78%, 79, 80%. Fantastic. Thank you all for participating. And I'm going to end the poll now. Boom, and share the results. So they're coming your way, and here they are. And you can see what the first question is. Are protective factors as important as risk factors when preventing youth drug use? And 99% of you said yes. Well, it makes sense. You're on board, you're here, you want to learn more, and you already know the importance of protective factors. Protective factors, risk factors, equally important in preventing youth substance use. Question 2, do you target protective factors, not just risk factors, in your drug prevention efforts? And 89% of you said yes. And then 10% said you don't know or not applicable. So most of you are already, 9 out of 10 of you are already targeting protective factors. Good for you. Congratulations. Hopefully we'll be able to add more information, more tools to your prevention toolbox with today's webinar. And then lastly, question 3, would you like to increase the protective factors that you target in your drug prevention efforts? And again, almost all of you, 97% said yes. Fantastic. So we're all on the same page. You know the importance of protective factors, you're using them, you want to know more, and that's why you're here, and that's amazing. So thank you again for joining us from throughout the country and even abroad. I'm sure there's some people from other places as well. So protective factors, the definition is protective behaviors are actions and personal/environmental characteristics that reduce the likelihood of substance use and related negative outcomes, even when risk factors are present. So protective factors can have an impact even if there's risk factors. I think that's really important definition. And these factors are oftentimes grouped into these categories of individual factors, family factors, school, and lastly, number 4, community factors, domains, groupings. So let's start taking a look at some of the research on protective factors, the influence of them on substance use among young people. So this study was published in just a couple years ago on the International Journal of Mental Health and Addiction, and it examined protective factors for alcohol, marijuana, and nicotine use among high-risk adolescents who had a history of adverse child experiences, ACEs, and identified a range of protective factors in those 4 domains, those 4 categories: individual, family, school, and community. So let's take a look at what this particular study found as implications for you as prevention specialists. So the study found that there were youth individual and parent factors that were important. And here's the list of them under the second bullet. And we'll be going into depth and talking more about each of these protective factors: being excited for the future, picturing the future, sleeping 8 to 10 hours a night, participating in non-sport activity organized by the school, frequent hugs by parents saying, "I love you," eating dinner every night with the parents, volunteering once a week or more, and lastly, feeling motivated to help and improve one's community. So those are the protective factors that were found to have an influence on preventing adolescent substance use. Let's take a look at each of them together and see what the implications are for you as prevention specialists. First of all, protective future behaviors and thoughts. So being excited about or optimistic about the future and imagining one's future 5 years down the road were both factors for showing to prevent youth substance use. So these are targets for you as prevention specialists, for you and I, getting adolescents to think about themselves in the future, future-oriented thinking, future-oriented actions. Now, just to give you a couple of examples of this from Prevention Plus Wellness programs, our Sport and In Shape and our adaptations of those two programs target desired future images and other expected benefits of engaging in healthy lifestyle behaviors. And we use that as a strategy to get young people to reflect on their preferred self images and their values, and therefore increase motivation for change across multiple health habits. So we do target future images, future desired images of themselves, looking fit, active, healthy, successful, very, very positive. And also PPW programs, that's prevention plus wellness programs, use goal setting, weekly goal setting to set goals to think about their behaviors over the next 7 days, 7 day future thinking. And then by doing that, they can monitor those behaviors and gain and increase their self-regulation skills, self-efficacy to initiate, to monitor, and to ultimately improve their future health habits by this goal setting, by targeting how they'd like to look in the future, their images and the benefits of these healthy behaviors. This is how PPW Prevention Plus Wellness integrates healthy behavior promotion along with substance use prevention. So that's just a couple of examples of how we target protective future thinking and behaviors. Healthy habits, protective healthy habits were found in this study as protective factors to prevent substance use, particularly sleeping 8 to 10 hours a night, and secondly, participating in non-sport activities organized by the school or schools. So integrating these within your prevention efforts, within your substance use prevention, is likely to strengthen your outcomes on substance use prevention. Targeting healthy behaviors, particularly in this case, sleep and organized activities, school-based organized activities. So let's take a look at some examples of this. So we, in our programs, Prevention Plus Wellness, include messages that specific types of substance use, it could be alcohol, e-cigarettes, opioids, marijuana. We talk in our programs about how these different types of substance use can interfere with young people achieving their healthy behavior goal setting and their desired images of themselves in the future. So that's how we address these healthy habits. We link the healthy habits to the substance use by explaining how specific substances harm specific healthy behaviors and them achieving desired goals. Sleep hygiene is another factor we address particularly in our PPW programs, but is something that should be addressed by prevention providers, or should be or can be. And particularly sleep behaviors such as shutting off your electronic devices, putting them out of reach at night, setting a specific bedtime schedule. All these things are important for youth because this is a protective factor that's shown to help prevent substance use. So it's something to think about and integrate in any way we can with our current prevention efforts. That could be by using evidence-based programs like PPW that integrate sleep promotion, for example, with substance use prevention, or discussing it with youth separately or in addition to, and giving them some information about how to improve their sleep quantity and quality. Protective behaviors, now looking at parent affection. This was another grouping of protective factors shown in the study that we mentioned just a moment ago. There were 3 parent affection behaviors that were identified as associated with less adolescent substance use: frequent hugs from parents, parents saying "I love you," and eating dinner together every day. So parent training, for those of you that have done that, parent training, you know how challenging it is to get parents together. But it might be more practical simply to communicate these 3 easy parental caregiver behaviors for families. Again, and And the more frequent these behaviors, the more likely they're going to have an impact on preventing substance use. So if you only hug your youth a few times a year, or you limit your hugging to only when your youth perform as expected, it's not going to be as effective as if you hug your youth more frequently, tell them you love them more frequently, and have a dinner with them more frequently. So the frequency of these protective parent behaviors is an important factor for them to communicate with parents and caregivers. And then lastly, this other group, this final group of protective factors, was helping others. So volunteering once a week or more. And then secondly, feeling motivated to help and improve one's community. Both of those were linked to less adolescent substance use. And I think a lot of you all do a fantastic job. I've seen this in social media posts, how you're taking youth and giving them opportunities to volunteer to help others. That's fantastic. You have leadership training, with regard to prevention and just helping those in need, which is fantastic. So having youth avoid substance use by encouraging them to participate and help others in school and home, in the community, is a great way to increase the potential for prevention outcomes. So conclusion, just for this one study and just these protective behaviors for youth, substance use, youth behaviors linked to future thinking, engaging in healthy lifestyle behaviors, and volunteering. All of these, as well as parent affection behaviors, are protective habits. So the more we can integrate these within our prevention strategies, either by using evidence-based programs that integrate multiple behaviors like prevention plus wellness, or giving youth opportunities to think about and practice these protective behaviors, that's a fantastic thing toward strengthening prevention. These are amazing protective factors for young people, shown in this particular study. But we're going to look at some more studies. So let's stop at this point and have protective behaviors poll number one. You're going to have two of these polls. But let me pull this one up because we've covered a good amount of ground thus far. So let me pull up poll number one, protective behavior poll number one. Here it is. I'm launching it to you. I think it's just one question. Yes, it is. Just one question for you. Would love to hear what you think. If you have an opportunity to respond to this, please do. Which of the following protective behaviors would you like to target with youth you work with? Okay, these are the ones we've discovered from that particular research study. There was different levels: individual, parent, community factors. So scroll down because there's some at the end, and of course there's a none, don't know option for those of you, not relevant to you perhaps. But for those of you that it is relevant, please do answer this question, and thank you so much for participating. And we're already up to 62, 64%, 65%, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70%. Yay, we've reached the mark, and we're going over 70%. So just give you another moment or two to finish. You're up to 74% have participated, 75%. Fantastic. Thank you so much. I'm going to end the poll, and I'm going to share with you your results. So the question is, which of the following protective behaviors would you like to target with youth that you work with? So the most popular one, we're engaging in healthy lifestyle habits. 73% of you said that. So that's amazing, because not just because prevention plus wellness programs integrate these health habits, but because the big three health behaviors, physical activity, could be sports and non-sports, nutrition, including breakfast, fruits and vegetables, etc., and sleep Those three behaviors are not only linked to less substance use, but also improved and protected mental health, which our young people need. So by addressing these health habits, and this particular study looked at sleep in particular and non-sport school activity, but we'll be finding some evidence for sport activities as well. Any kind of structured activity we'll take a look at it here in just a minute. So fantastic. Most of you like that. But also a good number of you, almost half of you said future thinking. I think getting young people to think about the future, either through goal setting or by having them reflect on themselves in the future, really, really important to not just for preventing substance use, but also overall positive development. Also, most of you, half of you almost said parental affection behavior. So you can communicate those very simple things. I love you, hugs, and having a dinner with your family. And then also over 50% said evidence-based programs that address some of these protective behaviors. So that includes prevention plus wellness, but I'm sure there's others out there. So thank you so much for answering that poll. And now let's go on and take a look at some more information. Drug abuse among adolescents. It's a worldwide problem. It typically involves adolescents. It starts at adolescence. And risk and protective factors are both involved. And this was a systematic review, this particular study of risk and protective factors of drug abuse among adolescents worldwide. But we're going to just focus on the protective factors because that's what this webinar is about. So 3 protective factors this review of worldwide research looked at. Mindfulness. Mindfulness, by the way, it can be a trait. You come with a certain level of mindfulness, but you can also train or increase it through education and practice. So mindfulness was one factor associated with less substance use. The desire to maintain one's health. Second, and third, structured activities. So we'll look at all of them. So mindfulness, first of all, as a protective factor, mindfulness is it can be taught to individuals to observe urges and thoughts and feelings and sensations without judgment. That's what it is. There's an NIH study. You can read about that. By the way, lots of links, so you'll get these slides, so you'll be able to dive deeper into some of this content, because we're going to go through some of this pretty quickly. So mindfulness, what are some potential mechanisms by which mindfulness might work to help prevent substance use? Well, focus on the present moment. So paying attention to your thoughts, your feelings, your body sensations, which, by the way, might trigger or preclude risky behaviors. That's one factor. Another is managing cravings. This is really the case for relapse prevention. Number 3, disruptive negative cycle. So if you become, through mindfulness, aware of these triggers and urges, that can help prevent the next step, which is engaging in substance use or overeating or whatever the case might be, whatever the addiction might be. And fourth, improved emotional regulation. So a lot of that we do as prevention specialists, but mindfulness can help you manage negative emotions, anxiety, sadness, and triggers associated with that. So mindfulness potential mechanisms, these are 4 of them. There was a study looking at mindfulness awareness practices, or MAPS, for primary drug prevention. MAPS aim is to strengthen your focus on and your attention on moment-to-moment awareness, objects, sensations, emotions, and then accepting them and letting them go. If those of you that practice some meditation or mindfulness, you'll know how this works. Several studies have shown that these practices, MAPS practices like meditation, like yoga, for example, youth can learn to strengthen these skills and enhance focused attention and decrease reactivity. So, for example, in children, mindfulness or MAPS, mindfulness awareness practices have been used to as separate intervention, but also integrated within social emotional learning, family focused interventions. You could certainly integrate mindfulness within prevention plus wellness, because one of the messages is about relaxation and stress control. So this could be and we mentioned mindfulness and meditation. So you can give young people additional experiences in this by practicing mindfulness with them. Another study looked at mind-body approaches to prevention for young adults, and so they looked at different types of them: meditation, something called distress tolerance, and yoga, and these were found to encourage de-escalation, de-escalating, and of intense or impulsive emotions. So very important. All of these were found to help young adults to manage their stressful experiences. So that was another study. There's a link in the bottom of this slide, and you can read more. Urgency in mindfulness in adolescents was another study I found, and it was found that negative urgency, which is defined as a tendency to act rashly when experiencing distress versus positive emotions, oftentimes lead to impulsive behaviors such as binge eating and substance use. So this idea of urgency was linked to alcohol and marijuana use, and so mindfulness was found to be associated with lower likelihood of lifetime alcohol and marijuana use. And the mechanism could have been urgency. So mindfulness may help with addressing urgency, which is again acting rashly with regard to experiencing distress. Mindfulness is a key public health problem. Another study showed that health concerns in young people, such as mental health problems, obesity, problem gambling, this study mentioned, share the same, to a certain extent, the same determinants. And so these authors brought up this idea of transdiagnostic factors. In other words, factors, in this case, protective factors that cut across multiple substance use, mental health problems, et cetera, other problems that young people have. And mindfulness appears to be one of those transdiagnostic prevention interventions that help young people cope with stress in their lives. Okay? So again, there's a link and you can delve more into that particular study. So all of that was about mindfulness. Now we're on to this second protective factor, desire to maintain one's health as a protective factor. So desire or motivation is the internal drive or energy to act or engage in a particular behavior. So the implication here for us as prevention specialists is to promote the benefits or the expectancies of healthy lifestyle behaviors. The big three, certainly: physical activity and sports, breakfast and nutrition, sleep. I would add a fourth one: stress control or relaxation. All of these I would provide positive benefits to young people, identify the benefits, the expectancies, and the desired future images that they would experience if they got a little bit more sleep, a little bit more physical activity, another serving of fruit or vegetable a day, etc. And so you communicate these short-term future positive benefits, including desired self-images, as we do in our PPW programs, but also then provide cues to action, just reminding them of this benefit or having them set goals is a cue. So you have the communication of the short-term benefits of healthy behaviors and then cues to act on those health behaviors. So that's how you can improve this desire to maintain healthy healthy lifestyle behaviors, and this is a protective factor for youth substance use. So let's take a look at cues to action. What are some cues that we can use as prevention specialists? So goal setting is one I mentioned earlier. Prevention plus wellness programs use goal setting, short-term goal setting, 7-day goal setting. Also contracting. So it's co-signed by your teacher, your parent, your friend. That increases motivation. But goal setting is a good cue to initiate behavior change. Secondly, visual cues. So at Prevention Plus Wellness, as an example, we offer a free healthy behavior goal tracking chart. So you can just download that from our website if you go to preventionpluswellness.com and look at, workbooks and other materials, you'll see the healthy behavior goal tracking chart, and you can just make a copy of it and post that in your classroom for your youth, and that's a cue to them to set goals and to monitor goals and to achieve behavior change. We also use calendar logs in our program, 7-day calendar logs. So it's a reminder as well as the goal setting. They post it where they can see it every day. So it's a reminder, it's a cue for them to monitor their healthy behavior goal change every day. Highlight positive role models is another great cue to change, showing young people images of other youth like them, role models, representations of themselves, but positive ones, engaged in health behaviors. And we do that in our programs through our videos and through our PowerPoint slides that you show when presenting our programs. All of these are cues to help young people act upon their healthy behaviors, leveraging social influencers. So we talk about this in some of our programs where we mention the influence of family and friends. Some family and friends may support and help and promote and reinforce healthy behaviors, like you engaging in healthy behaviors. Others may actually do the opposite and actually lead toward unhealthy or risky behavior. So that it's worth asking young people to reflect on who in their lives, within their homes and friends, are supportive of them and to engage in healthy behaviors and avoid risk behaviors. Number 5, create supportive environments. Create supportive environments by helping your young people modify their environment to include cues for healthy behaviors. So again, that could be posting your goals or your calendar logs or having healthy snacks out on the counter so you can see those fruit on the counter, vegetables on the counter. So, I found that when I buy vegetables, I hide them in the crisper in the refrigerator. I forget they're there, and by the time I find them, they're rotten. So putting them on a wire rack, which we have at our house in our kitchen, they're there. You see them. That's when you'll grab, a pear, a banana, an apple, some cauliflower, whatever the case might be. And then lastly, encourage reflection. We do that in our programs by our healthy behavior screening survey. It gets youth to think about their current health habits, physical activity, nutrition, sleep, substance use. And we do it by stop and think questions built within our feedback protocols where we ask young people, well, how could you, what kinds of healthy foods do you like to eat and would you like to try to eat? So we get them to reflect on and bring this information back to their particular lifestyle habits. Very, very important. And that's a cue to action. And then next, we talked about mindfulness. We talked about healthy lifestyle behaviors and communicating that as well as cues. Now, structured activities and protective factors. Structured activities are a key component to drug abuse prevention. I think you all know that. You I think, do a particularly excellent job, from what I've seen, in helping young people to engage in structured factors, structured activities, I should say. So research links a high level of unstructured, unsupervised time with increased rates of alcohol, marijuana, and the opposite. More structure, activities, less substance use. Here's another study that showed something similar. Engaging in unstructured activities significantly associated with marijuana and heavy drinking, and yet the opposite side, the other side of the coin, is engaging in structured activities decreased both marijuana and heavy drinking. Even, I like this study, number 2, even perceived availability of unstructured activities may present a risk, while perceived availability of structured activities may serve as protective factors. So if kids think they're structured activities, so perception does play a very important role. So the more you highlight structured activities, the better for your youth and your students. How structured activities may work. What are some of the mechanisms? Here's some thoughts on that. Reduces unsupervised time. Well, more supervised time, less unsupervised time. Makes sense, doesn't it? Fills time that might otherwise be spent, where they're, have opportunities to use substance use. Number 2, encourages healthy identity formation. So activities like sports and clubs and arts, all these things help discover and pursue passions and builds positive identity and offers a natural high. All of these things are benefits of structured activities. It corrects perceptions of social norms. If young people are engaged in these structured activities, supervised activities, they're less likely of misperceptions of substance use. Is common and socially acceptable because they're not getting those messages or seeing that in their structured activities. Number 4, structured activities creates a supportive environment where young people, as well as adults, can support young people, give them a sense of belonging and connection. Pro-social peer and adult mentors, very important, strengthen a young person's protective network. And then lastly, related to that, connection to school. If you can provide these things by the school, structured activities, there's connection to school. We know that being connected to school and community reduces substance use. And there's the link to this particular study to read more. Types of structured activities. Let's look at some very quickly. Physical activity, sports, the one that's perhaps that is known to be most prevalent, most available, and this shows promise in reducing alcohol and drug use. However, the caveat is some kinds of sports are actually linked to greater substance use, particularly alcohol, heavy alcohol use. So I think sports, and physical activity, of course, and sports as a specific type of physical activity can have and does have amazing positive outcomes mentally, physically, economically, school-wise, work-wise, etc. It can pose some kinds of sports and some environments can pose additional risks. So it's a great opportunity to have prevention specialists integrate prevention within sporting activities. After-school programs, another great structured activity where a young person can reduce the likelihood of substance use, alcohol, marijuana in particular. This particular study shows. Sport-based is really good because, again, very prevalent, but it really comes down to coaching and mentoring. That's the key. Are the coaches well-trained? Are the mentors well-trained? Do they offer, are we strengthening them, offering the youth the positive networks that they need to deal with adversity? So we should allow all sport activities should be targeted for prevention, in my particular opinion, because of the mixed findings on sports with regard to preventing substance use. Let me know if you have any questions about that. You can ask that in the Q&A section. Sport programs can serve as an effective hook for a lot of kids growing up, even high-risk kids, and reach out to those that are marginalized. So really, really good to have sports in your school, in your community. This is an interesting thing to share. I wanted to share with you behavioral theory, this particular behavioral theory. The BTC says substance use, or posits that substance use varies based on two factors. So it's a very simple theory. Availability of substance versus availability of alternative reinforcers. So factors influencing the availability of alternative activities to substance use include, obviously, income, cost, temporal availability of these activities. The bottom line, the more organized activities available for youth, or if you can change the composition of unstructured activities to include adult monitoring, the greater the less, I should say, the substance use for young people. So more organized activities, or taking unorganized activities and making them organized by adding an adult or some type of a mentor, is the way to go, according to this particular theory, BTC. Structured versus unstructured activities regarding delinquency and cannabis use is another study. And it showed that there's an association between unstructured activities and delinquency as measured by theft, violence, and vandalism. And cannabis use was stronger. Cannabis use was stronger for those with lower levels of structured activity. So the benefits of sports activities extend beyond the time spent actually engaging in sports, and organized sports activities appear also to be more widely accessible. I mentioned that already. Other types of structured activities encourage more high-risk youth to participate. So the more structured activities, sport, non-sport, the better. Across domains, adolescent protective behaviors. This is a little bit of a review, but this is another study showing that this particular study explored different developmental contexts for protective factors, and it looked at family, school, peer, and structured leisure time, and it found in particular the two domains that were most protective for youth substance use: family domain and structured leisure domain. So those two particular, and of course this didn't look at the individual domain, but we also looked at individual protective factors. Family domain, let's go ahead and look at family domain then, and structured leisure one more time. Time spent with family, with parents, is a good thing for the most part. Time spent with parents can also prevent adolescents from opportunities in engaging in risky behavior. So just promoting among parents and caregivers to spend more time with their youth can be very much a protective factor for youth substance use. So parent-youth time together. Structured leisure time, also, as we mentioned, unstructured leisure associated with more. A structured leisure time associated with more pro-social behaviors, academic success, lower likelihood of substance use. So encouraging young people to engage in all kinds of things, whether it be sports, art, music, scouting, drama, club activities, faith-based, any of those things, all those things are good. Advocating for school and community, structured leisure activities, that's really an important goal for us as prevention specialists. All right, last poll. Here we are, last poll. Let me pull it up. This is your last opportunity to take a poll. And it's poll number 3 in total, but it's a second poll on protective factors, and I just launched it to you. And it's just a single question again. Which I should say, of the following protective behaviors would you like to target with youth that you work with? So these are, the second part of the webinar. We looked at some of these other protective behaviors. So if you would go down that list, you may need to scroll down, but look at them. and see which of these you'd like to focus on in your prevention practice going from here forward. So we got 63% have responded. We'll wait until that goes up a little bit more. 67%, 68, 69. And we've reached the magic mark of 70. We're already up to 75%. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. You've been really great for participating, and I really thank you for doing that. So we're almost up to 80%. So at this point, let me stop, end the post, and I'll send you the results. And here it is one more time, the question: which of the following protective behaviors would you like to target with youth that you work with? And it's a pretty well evenly split, I'd say. You get about 61%, looks like that could be the largest percentage that said mindfulness. That's interesting. I like that. So really, there's more and more information and programs and activities and things. You could integrate mindfulness. It could be simple. It could be brief. It could be something you practice every day for a few minutes within a classroom, within a sport. It can be linked to health behaviors, certainly. That's a good start. But it can branch off beyond that to other types of competencies. And then 55% evidence-based programs that address some of these protective behaviors, like prevention plus wellness, for example. And then 54% right behind that said desire to maintain one's health. That's really important. So we want to continually highlight the benefits of the big three health behaviors, especially sports or physical activities, breakfast, nutrition, sleep, and perhaps even stress control, relaxation, and integrate those within our messaging and give youth opportunities for those and support with those, reinforce those. And then lastly, structured activities, 47%. That's because you probably are already doing that, would be my guess, or already providing structured activities. But that's also a great way to promote, to prevent substance use, because it's a protective factor. So thank you so much for that. So last slide. In conclusion, research shows the following behaviors protect against substance use. Future thinking. If we can get kids to think about the future, think about what they would look like in the future if they engaged in health behaviors, as for example, as we do at PPW, set goals for the future. Any of this really important for protecting against substance use. Engaging in healthy lifestyle habits. The big three in particular, very important. Volunteering, excellent. Parental affection behaviors, promote those at home. Mindfulness practices, could be relaxation, mindfulness, meditation, yoga, any of these things, very good. Desire to maintain one's health, excellent. That also goes well with engaging in healthy lifestyles. And then structured activities, structured activities, from sports to non-sports to anything offered by the school, by the community, to learn and to network and to be overseen by somebody very, very important, an adult, a mentor, very good. So targeting these behaviors using existing evidence-based prevention programs, they're just giving youth opportunities and information and reinforcers for engaging in these things. Really important. That's the conclusion from the research we looked at. You'll have the slides so you can delve deeper into that. So you can learn more about what we offer in regard to protective factor promotion while preventing substance use by clicking on the link on the left, or you can check out our latest news blogs on the right. That's it. Here's where we can be reached: preventionpluswellness.com, 904-472-5022, info@preventionpluswellness.com. So next week, this time, we're going to have a meeting. I say a meeting because it's not going to be hundreds of people like today. It's going to be a smaller number, but already it's getting rather large to have a meeting. But we're going to have a meeting where I'm going to walk you through our website so you can get a better handle on, because there's so much on our website. I'll walk you through all of it and then help you hopefully plan prevention plus wellness strategies for your young people, your youth, your young adults in your region. That's a meeting next week, same time, 12 noon Eastern next Wednesday. So let me see if there's any. There's one I see Q&A, comment or question. Will recording and slides be made available? Yes. And it's coming your way. So Alexandria, don't have to reach out to me. I'll reach out to you on that and send you that. So let me see if there's any other questions or comments. Add them to the Q&A. I'm just going to look at the chat space in case somebody may have asked something here. Sometimes if you do, it's going to get lost. Thank you all. God bless you for what you do, working with youth, young people, and families in your areas. If we can help, let us know, preventionpluswellness.com. Happy to help and serve you and team up with you. Thank you for the great reminder. Lots of new research. Thank you very much. Thank you for what you do. You do the hard work. You do the important work. And I appreciate all of you. Just waiting another moment or two. We've got another moment or two. If you have any questions. Oh, there's another one in the Q&A. Let's pull it up and see what it is. Oh, a couple more. So will you have any webinars over the parent program? So that's a good question, Mackenzie. Yes, I'm happy to do that. I think we'll have more webinars highlighting our programs, Mackenzie. So yes, I'll put that on the list. We did one late last year, but let me make a note of it right now to add that, to add our, to do a show and tell on our parent program webinar. Okay, thank you for asking that. So we'll set that up for this coming year. Kimberly says, what are some strategic ways to get parents more involved? Well, that's a good question. I mean, hopefully some of you can answer that for Kimberly, not just have me respond, but I think there's some hints as to things we saw here rather than, or in addition to, having brief trainings, and PPW offers one session trainings for parents. You could also reach out with information to parents, to the kids, or directly to them with these tips, with these suggested things for example, the parental affection behaviors, something about that, and supporting them any way you can. So reaching out to them as well as inviting them is, I think, very good. Any tips for transportation issues in rural areas? Well, gosh, that's a challenge, isn't it? That's always a challenge to get transportation, to get people. I don't know. I mean, again, there's so much more experience here. So, on our webinar right now, maybe some people can help respond to that, either in the Q&A, both to Kimberly and to Anonymous. If you have some suggestions for Kimberly about strategic ways to get parents involved or about tips for transportation, please respond here, either in the Q&A or the chat space. So that's obviously a great challenge. So looking for partnerships to help transport young people, reaching out to young people, that could be done virtually, of course, more virtual programs. By the way, PPW programs can be implemented live virtually through like a Zoom platform or Microsoft Teams. We also have on-demand online programs. Our programs are on demand online, so they just click on it, and then you could follow up with them with their goal setting virtually if you want to. So being as creative as you can be, obviously, is really going to be really important. Let me see if anybody responded to those two really important questions. Parental involvement is so needed. So you can look at these, obviously not appropriate for all activities, but Zoom video conferences can be useful to reaching people. Let me see if there's anything else. Local churches, reaching out to them for transportation. I think that's a great suggestion. Yeah, I mean, trying to partner with other organizations and agencies in the area. Meet parents where they're at, schools, newsletters, work, PT conferences. Excellent suggestions. How to address low-income families. You guys don't. You guys certainly ask some tough questions. I mean, it goes beyond the it goes beyond the webinar, but definitely, you know, trying to offer as much as you can to the low-income communities really important, whether that be that they can attend or that you can reach out to them or that you can reach them even virtually. Yes, that is a barrier. Poverty is a barrier. Low income is a barrier. All these things, transportation, lack of transportation is a barrier. All these things are barriers to prevention and positive youth development, without a doubt. And it requires some strategic and creative thinking and collaboration with whatever agencies you might have or organizations you might have in your area, whether that be rural or urban or suburban. So great suggestions, great questions, great feedback, food pantries, soup kitchens, local Lions Club, volunteers, excellent suggestions. Parent cafe, parent support group. Wonderful, wonderful ideas you guys have come up with. Thank you, thank you, thank you for responding to these questions and these comments that people have. Very important. And then let's see, looks like we have maybe one more on the Q&A. I don't want to miss anybody. No, I think that was it. All right, so I think we got it all. Thank you all. Have a great day. Take care of yourselves. Take care of others. And hope to see you in the future. Reach out to us if we can help. PreventionPlusWellness.com. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.